What was it for you that led to your glow?
My glow up after a breakup had a lot to do with internal healing.
But it's not about self-sabotage, y'all, because we do that. We do that a lot post-breakup.
Had it not been for the divorce,
Lord, have I had my fair share. Welcome back, guys. Another episode of Gemini Soulcast. I'm your host, Sin.
and I'm your host, Rob. And for today, we have a very unique topic that I would love for us to dive into immediately. You know, I've been hearing a lot of people talking about summertime. Now it's the summertime. It's hot, hot girl summer vibes, right? But there's also people who are perhaps going through heartbreak, right?
Yeah.
And when they're going through heartbreak, they might not know what to do necessarily. And I kind of always want to let people know that during this time, there's another concept, something that you could transform into.
Yeah.
And it's called the glow up.
The glow up, baby. Yeah, the glow up.
So it's something that, we talked about earlier on, but to just get the audience a little bit more used to what this is. What is this post-breakup glow up?
You know what that is. You're choosing yourself, baby.
Hey. Yes.
You're choosing yourself. You're taking care of yourself. You're pouring into you. You're doing all things that make you happy, which is kind of hard to do after a breakup.
Right. Because I think a lot of times it's like we start thinking about the relationship, why it didn't work out. But I do think there is a phenomenon that kind of happens when we decide to shift our energy and to bring it back to us.
Yeah. And a lot of times, though, like lately, when you hear about the glow up, people are talking about exercising, going out for walks, doing your skincare, doing all your self-love, all that stuff or whatever. But I'm sure you've been there.
Yes. I'm sure you have too.
I have. We're going to talk about this. We're going to share our experiences. But what was it for you that led to your glow up? And I say that because I know that, you went through a heartbreak, through a breakup, and you were in a completely different space, as was I. Mm-hmm. So what are some things that you did to glow up from that breakup?
Ooh, that's a great question. Echoing what you said earlier, a lot of times we do have that preconceived idea that a glow up is, okay, I get my skincare routine and it's exercise. If you're a girl, it might be I'm gonna post a really pretty, sexy picture of myself. If you're a guy, it's like, here's me at Machu Picchu traveling, But I actually felt like for myself, my glow up after a breakup had a lot to do with internal healing.
Yes.
A lot of internal work.
Yes.
And a lot of it is not something that I could just post a picture about.
Right.
Because it's not something physical.
Right.
It's a lot of me being like, and a good example of this was after my breakup, there was a period of time where I cried every other day.
Yeah.
And in that first span of 5 weeks, I cried more in those 5 weeks than I have in the past 5 years of my life.
Wow.
And at the beginning, I didn't know how to take that. And part of learning that was being able to accept it.
Yeah. Surrendering to that.
Yeah, there was a moment when I was so confused, angry, frustrated, and sad and heartbroken that I was like, you know what? Maybe I just got to go to the gym.
Right.
Let me just go to the gym, exercise, and then I could release some steam. It didn't work. It didn't work.
You know why, right? Because automatically we assume we got to start look for things outside of ourselves.
Right.
Like that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's outside of us.
Yep.
And when we break up, we go through heartbreak. Why? Because, oh my God, the happiness is gone now. When happiness starts with us.
Yes. The reason why we feel that love is because it's not like the love was never there. It just unlocked it within you.
Right.
So at that time, I was like, I felt like I had to go to the gym, do something external to get my mind off of it. It didn't work. And then when I came back, look at that. You hear that, right?
Urgent message.
Urgent message right there. And what was happening was that I was making my protein shake.
Right.
And I had some spinach and I knocked it over by accident. And I got so frustrated with myself that I started crying.
I remember you told me this. I was like, oh my God.
I felt so bad about myself because I was like, why am I crying over spinach? And then I realized, well, it's not because of spinach. I'm crying because I'm mourning the loss of this relationship.
Yep.
And I caught myself because at the beginning I was like, Rob, why are you being emotional? It's not that big of a deal. And there's a little voice in my head that said, would you ever say that to your friend if they were crying?
Right.
No. Right? So then I was like, you know what? Let me speak to myself as though I am my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally started hugging myself. I went like this. I was like, and I started sobbing for 20, 30 minutes straight. I just kept sobbing, and I kept rubbing my chest, my heart, to be like, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I realized, damn, to me, this is self-love.
Yeah.
It's not just the bubble bath or the vacation.
It's not.
It's being comfortable with myself. It's holding myself, giving space for myself to express how I feel.
Yeah.
So that in itself was like a boom, a shift. And I felt like from there, I was able to start to really feel more of that glow up from internally.
Yeah.
Which then, once you feel good inside, it automatically starts feeling that outside.
Exactly, because it starts from within.
Right. And I know that for you, you've had your fair share.
Lord, have I had my fair share. I'm always like, I know we came to this earth to learn things.
For sure.
A bunch of life lessons. But why mine always got to be around relationships? It's never around money or anything like that. It's always around relationships.
Dang.
And I'm just like, I can't believe that I agreed to come back to this earth plane for this.
Because you had a lot to learn about that, Why I do that to myself?
Ugh. But I know, like, for me, probably the biggest was, when I was married and I went through divorce and all that. And I didn't realize that, the big, beautiful blessing that happens when you choose yourself. Mm-hmm. When you make yourself the priority.
Right.
When you start looking over you, like, emotionally, yes, physically, spiritually, all that. Like, it takes a lot for some people to get there.
It does.
You know what I mean? Like, so when people tell you, like, oh yeah, just choose you, it can take a while before you choose you. But then once you do, you realize, like, oh my God, that's all I had to do this whole time.
Right. I hear it a lot, especially on social media nowadays, where people say, just love yourself, choose you.
Yeah.
But then they don't really dive into how or what or why. Like, people get the concept of I choose me. You talk about that too. But, like, for anybody that's watching this or listening to this, it's like, how do you choose yourself?
I think it comes down to really loving you, like really falling in love with yourself. Really, because whenever you do choose yourself, you're choosing to learn about you. You're choosing to, like, look at how you got there. Let's say, like, how did I get here? Or, But it's not about self-sabotage, y'all, because we do that. We do that a lot post-breakup.
Oh, yeah.
We try to put it on ourselves, like, what did I do wrong? I must have messed up. You start questioning everything, your worth, your value. You start, like, pointing the finger at yourself. You know what I'm saying? And there's two people involved in a relationship, y'all.
Right.
Like, in a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Most times.
I mean, there's a whole quote from Chris Rock has this thing where it's like, a relationship is like picking up a sofa. It takes two people to pick it up.
Yeah.
It takes two people to put it down.
Yeah.
And that's a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not just one person.
And the problem is, too, is that sometimes we put these, our significant others high up on a pedestal, as they say, above us, above everything else. Sometimes, above your kids, your family, like everything, your job, your friends. And it's like, no, this person is still a person, just like me.
Yeah.
And I think that once you start working on your mindset, because it really comes down to that too.
Right.
You want to kind of like, and again, it's once you get there, it's going to keep stressing it because nobody's saying that you have to do it right at the moment that you go through heartache and whatever else. But you can have your time. You can go through your emotions. You can do all that. But it's up to you to get yourself out of that energy.
Yes.
Pull yourself out of it. You know this. And look, you were trying to do that.
Yeah.
Like with your example, like I started going to the gym. Like you were looking for a way to uplift yourself, to get yourself out. And then you started journaling.
Yep.
And you started meditation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All of that.
For me, it was like I turned at that time like psychic development classes because it was something that he held me back from for so long. It was such a huge part of me.
Dang.
You know what I'm saying? Like he held me back from that.
So had it not been for the divorce,
I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now.
That's crazy.
Yep. I'd probably be going in circles or whatever. I'd probably be going through depression or who knows what. But the whole point is that me choosing myself and deciding to sign up for my classes and following my soul, my gut, should always do what lights you up or, whatever. Just follow it. Follow your intuition, your inner GPS is what got me through that. Like it helped me so much. But again, that's a big part of me that I had to learn about.
Right.
And I'm still learning.
As we all are. You know,
We're
gonna keep learning, but I think a big difference is that when you glow up, you are breaking old habits.
Yep.
You are breaking karmic cycles.
Yes.
Because when you aren't glowing up, you're repeating the same things, which means that when you have a new relationship, say, for example, those who jump from one relationship to another relationship to another, they're not really learning their lesson. They're not having their glow up because they're not taking their time to love themselves, to put that energy back to themselves. They're always going externally to seek for that. And therefore, same problems keep happening.
Yeah.
It's until you break that, then you really could experience that radiant energy that is you.
I kind of feel too like when people go from relationship to relationship to relationship, they're really like avoiding themselves.
Yes.
Not spending any time by yourself. You're not even trying to get to know you on a deeper level because you're feeling like, no, I have to be with someone else. I have to be with someone else. And, when the last I checked, I came out of my mother's womb by myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I came out by myself. And before anybody comes out and is like, well, I'm a twin. You didn't come out together, though, right? It was one after the other. You know what I'm saying? But, like, no, but seriously.
Nice.
Yeah. But the whole point is like, instead of looking at it, because again, you can go through the motions, you can go through all that. Why not take that opportunity to start like learning a lesson? Start that hobby that you've been thinking about. Start like doing things for you. Like maybe you want to travel. Maybe that's something you've always wanted to do and that relationship held you back.
Right.
Maybe you want to take that class like me. Wanted to take psych development classes. It took me 3 years. 3 years. To finally go take the classes because he was like complaining that it was too much money. What do I want to spend money on that for? Because it was a part of me and I just went with it. You know what I'm saying? And I got to the point where I was so low that as my daughter, shout out Jade again, said that I lost myself in that relationship. And I did. And I did. And sometimes that's what happens.
Yeah.
We lose ourselves. We make our entire lives about that person when it should be about us. And it should be, yes, you can be in a relationship with them, but you got to find the balance.
Right.
And not neglect yourself.
You can't. And I've been at fault for that too, where sometimes I end up forgetting to hit up my friends, hit up my family because I put so much energy into a relationship.
Yep.
Because I feel like, oh, she or he is the person that is feeding me.
Yeah.
Energetically speaking, right? When really it's not. You are the one that's bringing that out of yourself. Because a relationship is just a mirror to you. A big one for me in terms of my glow up has been I quit alcohol and weed.
Yes.
I became sober.
I know.
Every other time I tried to quit, it didn't work. I go 2 months sober, 6 months sober, maximum. It never worked. It's until I experienced a painful heartbreak. And a big one is I got tired of being tired.
Yes.
I got tired of the self-loathing. I got tired of the disrespect that I gave myself.
Yep.
I was tired of all that. And I was like, enough of this. Loving myself means that I want to see the highest version of myself.
Yeah.
And if there's certain things that don't align with the highest version, I got to kill it.
Yep.
I got to sacrifice it.
Yep.
Because in order for me to get up there, I got to cut old parts of Rob out of the equation. Doesn't mean I can't appreciate that past version of myself. I could love all parts of myself because that's what got me here. But in order for me to ascend to the next level, gotta take it out completely.
You just gotta cut all that out.
Yeah.
Kind of like, but that's the thing too, like, because again, you're learning about yourself during this time, but you can get into another relationship and still have to learn something. Like, we're always gonna learn until we go.
Right.
Like, until we transition. But you can go from relationship to relationship and there's still, things that you're learning about them, that you're learning about you. And the way you show up in relationships. Just because you learned one thing doesn't mean that you've learned everything.
Nah.
You know what I mean? But you also get to the point where you recognize where you have to choose yourself. And again, sometimes it takes a little while. It could take people a couple of years to even get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. You just got to recognize, though, like, the blessings that come when you freaking choose you. I can't stress it enough.
Right.
I've done it a few times in my life. And every time that I've done it, something amazing has happened. It's wild.
What would you say has been, for example, when you have chosen yourself and an amazing blessing has come out of that?
Yeah.
What's an example of that?
I'm going to say when I conquered my fear of public speaking. That was me choosing myself. Me deciding to put myself first, put my fears aside, stay over there. And just proceeding, just like taking a chance, like I was hanging out at the edge too long and I finally jumped and was like, no, the universe has me. And I used to just think about, doing like IG lives and, and building community and doing all these things. And now it's like nothing to me. I can talk to anybody. I could do it at any time. But had I not chosen myself, I could still be that person that's like afraid to like speak, in a room full of people, let alone online.
It's crazy.
When I got like so many people watching.
Right. It's so interesting because at the time when I met you, you already could speak very eloquently and you're very comfortable with speaking to people online and in public.
Yeah.
Like had I not known, if you didn't tell me this, I never would have thought that you had a fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy to me.
I had a fear, and I finally conquered it during the pandemic in 2020. In 2020. Not only that, like, I chose myself, right? Got rid of, a person in my life or whatever, or they were removed. I'm just going to say it like that, our time had ended a while ago.
The contract has ended.
That was it.
Yep.
And then I chose myself and I was like, all right, I'm going to pour into me now. And I started like loving on me and I started doing things, having more fun. And I started doing the lives and whatever else. And then that's when love interest came in or whatever. And the type of person that I've always dreamt about. Like because of my ex-husband not fully accepting me for my gifts and everything else and holding me back. Now I meet someone that's like, yeah, excited for me, supportive, pushing me to do better, to, don't give up, keep going. Like sometimes it's like we don't come across that.
Right.
Because we're not even like taking care of us. We're not even putting ourselves first. We're not choosing ourselves. It's really, and then we stay in that cycle.
Right.
Where we make it about everything and everyone except, and not make it about us. Guys, you know what time it is? Affirmation time.
Hey.
This time we're pulling from a special deck, Rob.
Yes, we are. This is the Channy Affirmations deck. 82 cards right here. It's got pictures and it's got inspiration and affirmations. Also, we have these mugs.
Hey.
The Gemini mugs
Cheers.
here.
The
Cheers,
Gemini
cheers.
mugs.
So we want to say thank you to the Channy team.
Thank you
for
guys.
the mugs and for this affirmations deck. And we'll pull something out from here. I'm excited.
Ooh,
First
I'm
time to do this.
too. Let's see what the card is.
I'll go with this.
Okay.
The card is whatever I win, I share.
Wow.
Here we go.
Ooh. Oh man.
Because of Channy, I got a little stand right here. It's like really this.
God, I feel a lot of gratitude.
Same, yeah. Part of like whatever I win, I share. That also could mean stuff that's within your process. When you're grieving through a relationship, when you're going through healing, a lot of times we may feel that we have lost everything, but we really haven't. When we talk about this glow up, it is those little wins. And it could be as simple as I wake up today, I drink my glass of water, I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna give myself that self-love. I'm gonna take that class, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna reach out to a friend when I need help. All of these are tiny wins. It's these little tiny wins that then leads to the big marathon win right there. And that calls for a celebration. So whenever I win, I share, because when you glow up, you also inspire other people to glow up as well.
Yeah, and if you're waking up in the morning, that's a win.
That's already a win.
And then you get to share yourself with the world.
Oh my gosh, what a blessing that is. So stay beautiful, stay glowing up. Once again, this is the Chani Affirmations deck, along with the mugs. They have mugs in all different signs and astrologies. So go check it out at the Chani app. And with that being said, back to the episode. I like what you said too about how at that time you're not attracting those types of people that see that in you because you didn't see that in you, like your own value and your full potential. And it's almost like that idea that we are actually afraid of our light.
Ooh, yeah.
There's a whole quote about Marianne Williamson talks about it. It's not the darkness that we most are afraid of. It's our light that most frightens us.
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Yeah, but how true it is, The moment we love ourselves, the moment we put the focus back into ourselves, we are bringing that light out. And when we bring that light out, the right people become attracted to that light.
Yeah.
And they see it.
And sometimes, when you don't see it for yourself and you're in a relationship with somebody that does sees it, they're trying to hold you from shining.
Ooh.
They're trying to hold you back. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're literally trying to keep you down because they can't handle your light and how bright it can get.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that happens, too.
Mm-hmm.
And you're thinking, like, damn, am I going crazy here? Like, because I know that I can do great at this, but they're not really supporting me in this or whatever. Yeah, because they see what you have. They see the potential. They see the light in you. And they're afraid that you're going to get out there and forget about them. Like, this is just turning the table now. I'm like, on that thought.
Right.
That sometimes people are trying to hold you down because of that.
Right. And that could be more than just like a relationship, like a romantic relationship. Friends, family.
Co-workers.
Your community.
Yeah.
Sometimes you really have to, not saying you got to cut them out, but you got to distance yourself from them because they're like, in Harry Potter terms, they're Dementors. They're just going to suck the life out of you. Yeah. And you cannot have that type of energy, especially when you are a light worker, when you have so much joy, love, positivity, and potential that you could bring out to this world. God gave you a reason. God's reason for bringing you out here is so that you could do God's work. Yeah. Bring that light to others. Yeah. But you really can only do that when you love yourself first. And I do think that's why it's called a glow up. Yep. You're bringing your light out. You're glowing. Yeah. And, there are moments when, like, I'll see that in somebody or somebody will say that about me. And it's like I'm not really doing anything radical or anything like that. I just show up as me. Yeah. And they'll be like, ooh, something about your energy today. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this happened a couple times with you, too, where I was like, oh, shoot, hey, like, you're glowing. You're radiating. Yeah. And when anybody that's positive also sees that, they get inspired, too. Like, you're sharing that light with others. Yeah, that's how it should be. Like, we make it so hard. And then when you bring it back to friendships, too, like, it really sucks when you have people that, like, can pretend that they're in your corner. You know what I'm saying? When behind your back, they're, like, rooting for your downfall. Right. You got to stay kind of, like, vigilant in the sense that you're being very cautious of who you have around you. Yeah. If there's something like, a red flag in one of your friends and you keep ignoring it, it's time to really take a look as to why that's a red flag. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because, no, sometimes where you're going, they can't go. Yeah. And they don't want you to go. Mm-hmm. And some of them don't want you to go because you're doing what they want to do. And they're not feeling like as brave as you, or they're not, as fearless or whatever. Right. And that's a problem too. I've been there too with that.
I've been there too, where people could see like, damn, like Sin's doing all this stuff, and you know, like she's starting to glow up even more or whatever,
Right.
and now it's like, yeah, like let me try to like ride her coattails, or let me try to use her to get to the next level, or she'll take me with her, and it's like, it's not how it works.
No.
It's not how it works.
That's why there's jealousy.
Yeah.
That's why people will use you and abuse you.
Yeah.
And that's why you got to bring it back to yourself.
Yeah.
You got to part of self-love is setting boundaries.
Yeah. Oh yes.
You know, you got to set those boundaries, whether it's for the sake for the other person or for your own sake.
Yeah.
You got to know, and that part of that what you said earlier is like that self-love, is that self-awareness too, like knowing yourself really well. You got to know what you could take and you got to know what you can't take.
Yeah.
That all comes in, and that's also loving every part of you.
Every part.
Every single part. That even means loving the parts of you that you normally that you might not always like. Is being able to love your insecurities, love your fears even, because honestly, it's not really fear. It's just your own ego and your mind thinking that it's something to fear.
Creating the fear.
You create the fear, exactly.
Yeah.
And when you learn how to give yourself that self-love, all that fear disappears. It's just something that we made up.
Yeah.
But it takes courage to do that, and it takes strength. But something that I do want to say to everybody who's listening is that you have the strength. You have everything already that you need to transform, to live the life that you always want to live, and to have this glow up.
Yeah. The glow up.
The glow up. You know?
You got to have some, like we said last time too, some self-compassion.
That's huge.
Yeah, because I don't think enough of us have that. Like, we're quick to beat ourselves up over things.
I'm such at fault with that at
You know,
times.
like, we're so quick to beat ourselves up and whatever else, and a breakup happens and it's your fault.
Right.
What? And then we'll come up with, like, excuses for them. Well, you know, they didn't really do this, or they kind of did this for me and whatever. It's like, yo, you have all this compassion for them. Throw some towards you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing, too.
100%.
That's part of your choosing yourself and your self-love journey here.
I also think part of self-love is a huge one in terms of glow up. There's another part of glow up too, which is forgiveness. I think that's a really tough one because post-breakup, there's number one, as you mentioned, the guilt and the shame that we feel for ourselves, that we didn't do enough, that we are not enough for this relationship. And then there's this other part of like, dang, but they messed up on all these things too. I'm going to blame you for certain things.
Yeah.
And I think part of that glow up is being able to forgive yourself. Self-forgiveness and forgive the other person too. However that relationship has gone. Because a lot of times we hold so much of that weight.
Yeah.
And when we allow ourselves to give ourselves that hug or to forgive them, even if you never get that full closure, but being like, okay, I accept that this is what it is, and it's time for me to move on. I know it's hard, but when you get to do that, you will feel some lightness to yourself.
Yeah.
You will radiate that glow because you stop suppressing it.
Yeah.
You know? But I'm not saying that it's easy to do, but it is part of that.
Yeah.
It's part of that healing and it's part of that glow up too.
Yeah. And don't be surprised that you glow up so much. You start looking amazing. You start feeling great. You're super confident. And then all of a sudden, here comes that ex. Coming back around. Now that they see, like, wait, hold up. Damn, they've changed. Wow, they're looking pretty good. They're doing a lot of great things over here.
Yeah.
Let me shoot my shot. No, man. Stay over there, yo. Stay over there.
Right.
This glow up that's happening here has nothing to do with you.
Right. But I'll still say thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, because now that it's done, I'm working on myself and I'm transforming in this way.
Thank you for the lessons.
Thank you for the lessons.
Thank you for the love when it was there.
Right. And then thank you for allowing me to push myself to be me now, fully, instead of having to wait for this thing to happen. I'm going to choose me.
Yeah.
There's so much that gets involved into a relationship. And I do truly believe that breakups is one of the best ways to learn about yourselves and is one of the best ways and most effective ways for transformation.
Yep. And again, whether it's a romantic breakup, whether it's a friendship breakup, like there's lessons and all that, but start pouring into you, and man, you're gonna love that glow up. And you're gonna love everything that comes along with it. You're gonna recognize so many parts of you. Like, you'll start looking at parts of yourself that you didn't do before, and you're like, oh, actually.
Actually, this is wow.
Yeah. This is actually pretty good.
I didn't know I needed this, huh? I didn't know I have this. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, muscles.
Muscles.
Okay, shins. Okay, eyebrows.
Yeah.
Ooh, dang.
Yeah. It's just really about that. Like, so, if you're going through a breakup, as we've been talking about, whether that's a romantic one, a friendship one, you're having, bad times at work with coworkers, whatever it is, choose yourself, man. Allow that glow up to come in. Pour into you.
1000%.
Pour into you. Whatever that looks like for you. And it's okay if you're one that's like, well, I started the gym and I started journaling. I started meditating. Like,
sounds like me.
Just keep going. I know that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But just keep going with that, because that's just you're just following what, your soul is trying to do, which is trying to get you there. It's trying to get, light and brighten up that light that you have within you.
I love how you mentioned how to listen to your soul, because I think that's what it is. Like, that self-love is being able to follow that intuition, because sometimes in a relationship or a post-relationship, we could ignore that little whisper that we have.
Yeah.
But that little whisper is nudging you towards something. Mm-hmm. You have to listen to it, because the worst thing you could do is betray yourself.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely the worst thing that you can do.
Don't betray yourself. When you start listening to it, so that could be, I'm going to book that trip. I'm going to sign up for this class. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to do something that I've never done before. I'm going to dye my hair, whatever.
Yeah.
Something that you can do to start that transformation process.
Yeah.
And I always feel like in these transitional moments, and I always find it interesting because it's usually not just the end of a breakup. It's always like it's coupled with like some other life changes that's happening.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's like a transition period.
Yeah.
And every transition period always will feel a little awkward.
Yeah.
But I always find that those are the best ones. And a year from now, you could look back and be like, oh, wow, remember that time when I was going through heartbreak?
Yeah.
But because of that, I ended up doing this. I met this person and that person. I learned this about myself. Like, in fact, it's an exciting time.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time.
Yeah. And one thing that you have to remember, though, too, whatever kind of breakup you go through, there's so many more people for you to meet on this earth. There's so many classes. There's so many more things for you to see, for you to experience. Like, it's not, you didn't just come here to like fall in love with this person, break up, and then that's the end of your life. That's not true.
Some people think that that's the end of the world.
And it's not. Mm-hmm. You didn't come here just for that. You did not come here just for that. You came here to experience.
Fully.
So just embrace the journey, man.
Right. Embrace the journey, experience life, because we only got one right now. Enjoy it. And so for anybody who is going through that, I wish you the best.
Me too.
Love is always there. Write down the comments. What are you currently going through right now? We read all the comments.
Let us know.
Yeah. But I love this. I love having these types of conversations.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Once again, my name is Rob.
I'm Sin.
And this is
Gemini Soulcast.